What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pipe Up with
Jeff. I'm Jeff. Hey,
it's been 3 months.
I know, 84 years. It's been 84 years. I was about to say who was going to be the first one to say that it was the first of 2021.
It's been a whole 2020 since our last episode.
That's right. It's also episode number 5 as well.
Yes.
It took me a while to figure that out from going through old episodes.
Yeah.
But,
so the last time we did this, we spoke about horror and everything because it was just wrapping up after Halloween and all of that goodness.
We both had some spoopy makeup on.
On the thumbnail.
Halloween. Yeah.
Not in the actual stream.
Yep.
So today we're not going to do like it says 2020 wrap up, but it's not going to be like a wrap up of the entire year. I think we keep it kind of focused and talk about maybe something that we did differently in 2020 and a lesson or some lessons that we learned from 2020, because I think it was like a different year for a lot of people. And with it comes challenges and things we had to face. So do you want to get started and talk about what did you do differently in 2020, or what did 2020 mean to you, I suppose?
Yeah, can do. I suppose so 2020, I know for a lot of people it started off with like, it continued through with a lot of bad juju, but here in Australia, it started off with a whole bunch of really, really devastating fires, which then led into this whole restriction and lockdown with COVID, etc. So
it feels like it was so much longer than just a year ago.
12
like
months,
the fires and like I remember doing the fundraiser and stuff. That feels like years ago.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
do you recall when you were doing the fire fundraiser, like there was nothing on the radar about the pandemic, was there at that point? Was there? I can't recall.
A few podcasts that I listened to kind of
touched on it.
Yeah, because I think it was like November 2019 where like the first thing in Wuhan occurred, right?
Yeah,
I don't think it was on the radar for a long time. And some people were like, people that were painted as kind of like alarmists were like, this could be a pandemic. Like people were like, nah, it's fine. And here we are in 2021.
Yeah, to be completely fair to the scientific community, they've been saying this for the past 10 years, that a pandemic is just waiting to happen. So that's a completely different discussion, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, leading into 2020, there were a lot of changes to people's lifestyles. There were a lot of changes to the way that people went about their daily jobs, daily chores. And coming out of it now, or continuing through it now, I shouldn't say coming out of it, because we've all kind of got a new way of life that we are living, and it's not going to be the same. I don't think that anyone's under the illusion that it's going to be the same. But I think the way that we handled it was different for different people. And for me, and I don't ever say this ever wanting to gloat or be a little bit uppity about it, but I think for FFP, for the channel that I'm streaming from right now, we're doing the squad stream. FFP, it was an area for growth. It was an area for, I suppose, reaching out to a whole new audience of people that potentially weren't around to watch in the past, or potentially weren't in the mindset where they needed FFP, where we needed to find ways to do things at home. So I suppose the big thing that changed for me, if we're looking at lifestyle changes and the way that we reacted and responded to the pandemic, I thought about it yesterday, where every single weekday I've streamed. So there've been a few times where I've been sick or there's been some work things in the way, but essentially every single weekday, 5 days a week, I have streamed on the channel FFP.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how tired are you?
Oh my God, yeah. so yeah. I suppose that's a thing. I don't think about how tired I am as I raise my mug of caffeine here in front of me.
That better be Red Bull in there.
Oh, it's cold brew. It's all good. I don't know. So yeah, it's been two things: fitting in more into the day, and then I suppose also showing that if you do have that opportunity and you do grasp it, it's not impossible. It's not impossible to lead a full-time job plus streaming plus all the other things around the house, like the cleaning and whatnot that needs to be done, and cooking and everything. And it's all very doable if you do what you need to just to not fall into a rut. Yeah.
If you're passionate about it, it's hard. Like, it definitely is still hard when you're passionate about something. Like, a lot of people, that's the whole if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. I don't agree with that. It's still hard work doing things that you love, but the passion overrides the negative aspect of it being like, oh, I'm exhausted, or oh, this is so much work, or oh, today was a shit day. It's like, yeah, but I love what I do, so ultimately, like, I'm happy to put in that work and effort.
Absolutely.
Doesn't take away from the fact that you're exhausted.
No.
Yeah.
No. How about you?
So yeah, 20. Yeah, it's fine. I've just got welcome on. I don't think I have. That'll work. So for me, I mean, I was super freaking lucky, and I don't usually like using the word lucky, but I think in this aspect, it actually was a lot of luck being in this industry, because Twitch grew. I think I saw a stat like 85% this year or last year. Twitch as a platform grew in terms of viewership and amount of people watching on the platform, which is an insane amount. Like that's a freaking crazy amount of growth. I can't remember the exact stat. I should have looked it up, but it was something like, X amount of billion hours was watched in 2020. Yeah. And because of that, like a lot of opportunities came up for me, because I am in a position where I can work from the safety of my home. I don't have to worry about it and put myself into, the line of fire that essential workers do. So shout out to all the essential workers for like being in the front lines and not having the ability to work from the comfort of your home and the safety of your home. But because of that, and being in the industry that I am in, I had so many like amazing opportunities. And I kind of had it similarly with the fires. Like when the fires were happening in Australia, it wasn't in South Australia. So I kind of had that kind of survivor's guilt. And then I kind of felt that a little bit during COVID as well, because I saw all these people suffering and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to be too like outwardly proud and excited about what I've got going on, because so many people are suffering. And I just feel like a jerk being like, my industry is booming and I'm doing great during this pandemic. So like it just had to like kind of quietly, do my shit and not be too outspoken about it, I suppose, just to be sympathetic to people, that aren't fortunate to be in a position like I am. But with that, like I got to do a lot of cool commercials, because companies were trying to do things kind of outside the box, like doing remote shoots. Like I did the Head-to-Head series, which is the IGTV series that's still going. I think we've got 3 more episodes left. And that was all shot over Google Hangouts with all the guests coming in, and they'd record their side, I'd record my side, and then we'd send it all to the editors, and they'd edit it, and then I'd get it and put it on IGTV. It was really cool, like being a part of that.
It's a new kind of workflow, isn't it? It's the way that your industry's adapted. Yeah,
totally. And it diminishes the having to travel. Like I am from Adelaide, and nothing happens here, so it doesn't matter now, because everything can be done remotely. Like all these companies have made use of Zoom and Google Hangouts, and because I am a full-time content creator, I can record my side, because it's not going to look like garbage. Like it's actually high quality production. So that was really cool. And then I also did the Audible commercial, which I'm sure people are sick of seeing at this point. But I did that, and also the stream with them, and then the Telstra commercial that I took part of, which was probably the first time that I was on like a professional shoot. There was like a makeup artist, there was wardrobe, there was like a director and a bunch of lighting guys, and a guy who was holding the camera, but he wasn't actually controlling it. There was someone else controlling it with the cool little like wheelie thing, and it was crazy. I've never seen a production like it.
So I suppose that one was
that was in Sydney.
That was and that was once travel restrictions did lift. But I suppose the story or the moral that I get out of that is that you had put enough professional work into your remote filming that people took notice and were like, look, this is a professional content creator here that we'd like to get into the big time, basically. So,
I think once you put yourself out there a couple of times, and like I like to think that I'm pretty professional and have a good rapport with the people that I work with, so then word travels fast, especially in Australia. The gaming industry is tiny, and people talk. So I must have gotten some good reviews from people when they were looking out for talent, as we're called. And getting the opportunity, talent. The opportunity to be a part of that was really neat, and have that like on-set experience, and them just be like, you nailed it. Like that was really sick. We got it done quickly and like finished earlier than planned, and just shit like that is really
catering.
Just like validate and catering. it just kind of like validates like everything that I do. I'm not just some like basement dweller putting content out on the internet. I actually feel like a legitimate, like 2020 made me feel like a more legitimate creator, I think, because I did have a lot of opportunities that I haven't really had before. So that was probably the big one for me. And yeah, like I said, I didn't want to be too vocal about being excited about stuff because I felt bad.
Yeah, I think you also you can't hide yourself, because a lot of people also, and this is what I find from the fitness side of things, a lot of people are also inspired by seeing other people's success.
Yeah.
I suppose this has been a relevant topic
nice
recently as
people
well.
are.
Yeah, I was going to say the tall poppy syndrome
Yeah.
is a real thing, especially in Australian culture, where some people will often try to really cut down people that they see succeeding just out of pure cultural jealousy. But
is that a term that you think a lot of people are familiar with? Do you think everyone knows what tall poppy is?
Tall poppy syndrome. It's similar. It's similar to those demotivational posters that you see where, when you go to a doctor's office or a dentist's office and they've got those, teamwork, and they've got a flock of geese in formation.
Synergy.
But then you see synergy. Yeah. But then you see the demotivationals, which was started as a bit of a troll website, a bit of a funny one, where it says the tallest blade of grass is the first one to be cut by the lawnmower. So those sorts of things. Where the tall poppy syndrome is where people basically see other people succeeding and their immediate reaction is to bring them down. The tallest poppy is going to be cut, kind of thing. So that's unfortunately, it is one thing that I wasn't born in Australia, and whenever I do speak to people that have immigrated to Australia or come from an outside culture and are living in Australia as an Australian now, they've noticed that the tall poppy syndrome, there are a lot of things that are very Australian. One of them is that tall poppy syndrome. Some people call it banter, some people call it casual whatever isms, but it's one of those things that people don't often realize they're doing as well, because it's been something they've grown up with. It's been in the families where they've gone to barbecues. It's like
casual racism or casual like misogynistic behaviors. It's like people may not actively be trying to be an asshole, but they've just, society has brought them up a certain way and they've been conditioned to say and do certain things, and they may not even be conscious of it, but it is something. That's why, checking your privilege and being aware of the way you speak to your fellow humans is like a really important thing to constantly check in on yourself and be like, why do I think that way? Like, why do I believe these things?
It presents two different states, where the first one is if there is someone actually maliciously, consciously undergoing or doing the tall poppy syndrome, then they're just an asshole, number one. But the second one is if someone is doing it without knowing, without realizing that they are inflicting this hurt as part of the tall poppy syndrome, then that's dangerous too, because they're potentially passing that on to people around them. It's a casual thing. They don't actually think they're doing anything wrong.
Passing down really shitty behaviors.
Exactly. So again, like
that's
you said,
why I couldn't be a parent, man. It's so much stress. You're literally shaping a human being into either being an asshole or a good person. There's so much pressure.
Yeah.
At least in Twitch, I can just have a button to be like, "You're shit. Go away.
Go away.
You suck.
You're shaping Twitch chat as your child.
You're all my children."
Just a big ball of, what's that inside? Just a big ball.
Oh
of
God.
No. So yeah, that's the tall poppy syndrome, and I think that
Mum.
And I think where we started that conversation was I believe that there is a certain amount of, you do need to advertise your successes throughout the lockdowns and throughout these trying times, because some people are capable of a success. They just need a good role model. They need someone to go to for leadership, and they go, hey, actually, Grace did really well, and if I change my behaviors this way and this way and this way, like I learned from Grace, I can cope as well. So I think that's a valid case there as well.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess in the past, like, I'm probably cautious of doing it, because in the past when I have been like, hey, I'm really excited about this thing, it's always the minority, but of course they always speak the loudest. So it seems like as soon as you're happy about something and you're proud of something and you put it out there, and people are like, well, you just get things because you're a girl, or because you're boobs. And then I'm like, I don't even want to share good news sometimes, because I just am met with like bullshit. Like, I know, and it's the same with everything, like, like the tattoos and stuff like that. Like, it's always the people that want to kick up a stink and be a dickhead about it that always have the loudest voices and always are going to put shit on Twitter. Because you're boobs.
Because you're boobs.
Like, a lot of people, and myself included, just like, quietly support. Like there's a lot of content creators that I watch and really, really love, but I don't, tweet out about them constantly or post on all their shit all the time. I just like enjoy their stuff and like them as people, and I'm just like, cool. So it's definitely important as someone who puts things out there to remember that dickheads are always going to screech the loudest.
Yeah. And it's what a lot of people get annoyed by this, but it is also very necessary to leave good reviews on things.
Totally.
Because like you said, it's the empty vessels that make the most noise. It's the people with something to complain about that are going to put an opinion out there. Whereas the people that are actually really happy with a service or something or what they're watching or what they're playing, they'll often go about their lives and enjoy the content.
Because they got better shit to do than to leave dumb comments on the internet.
Oh, exactly. And that's what I mean when I think about the people in my life offline.
Yeah.
The people that I actually look up to and respect, and I look at their interactions with social media. They'll swipe through things, and if there's something I don't agree with, they'll actually make some changes in their life, but they won't actually stop and put their good opinion onto social media because they've got better things to do.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Yeah. So yeah, it's another
lesson
social media.
from today, chat. If someone's giving you a hard time on social media, just remember they have nothing better in their day to do than to be miserable on the internet. And you can take some comfort from that fact.
Yeah. Other people that are supporting you and are loving you and are just really good people, they're out there spreading their love IRL.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. There was one other thing I wanted to add onto like the 2020 wrap up as well that has kind of shaped my content moving forward, which I wasn't really expecting, was when the PS5 came out, Demon's Souls came out with it, and I always considered those types of games too hard for me. I was like, nah, can't do it, hate it, I'm bad at it, I rage, nah. So I got into Demon's Souls and it was just like, it really drew me in immediately. It was just like a really beautiful game. Like it looked amazing on the PS5 and I'd never played the original. For those that don't know, Demon's Souls on the PS5 is a remake of the first Souls game. Demon's Souls is the original game and it was remade. So I thought I'd just give it a go. And yeah, it was hard. Kicked my ass. Died 230 times throughout the playthrough, but finished it. And now I've started moving on to playing the others. I just finished the first Dark Souls. And now I'm playing number 3. And I just never thought that I would get into this type of game because I always just kind of dismissed it. Like people would be like, hey, you should play these. And I'm like, nah, I'm shit. Like I can't, I'm bad. And I did play Dark Souls 3 like 5 or so years ago when I first started on Twitch. And I think I didn't know the style of gameplay. So I was just like, I struggled with it a lot. I don't want to say I'm bad, but I just like struggled with it. And I also had I was also 5 years younger. So I was still like in my early 20s. And I feel like I was a bit of a child at that point still. And I probably wasn't as like in control of my emotions. So I tended to, and because it was content that was kind of, I never made edgy content, but because my audience was mostly like Grand Theft Auto, they kind of liked me like, raging and being an idiot. So I think I was more inclined to be like, fuck this, whatever, I'm bad. Like, and just rage quit it and make a meme out of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't think
I was going to say,
ever...
it is the meme that I knew because I'd never seen you play it before, but the reputation preceded you going into Dark Souls. Yeah, okay. This is the one that Grace rages at. So,
yeah, exactly. And I think I really wanted to revisit it because of that as well and show that I'm not who I was 5 years ago, because there are so many people from my past content that want to hold on to who I was back then. And I feel like if you don't look back at yourself from 5 years ago and cringe, you're probably not doing it right, because you probably want to be like,
you're not growing,
becoming a better person and growing. So yeah, that really has shaped my content moving forward, because not only have I finished Demon's Souls, but I've also played Dark Souls 1 and 3, and I plan to do Bloodborne and 2 and probably Sekiro as well at some point. So yeah, I didn't think I'd become a Souls player. And I mean, to put the skill level in contrast with each other as well, the first time I played Dark Souls 3 5 years ago, I took like 3 hours on the tutorial boss. And then when I played it yesterday or the day before, I beat it first try. So I was like, yes, I'm like a gamer now. I'm a real gamer. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that's been a fun series to get into, and it's got a pretty helpful
chat question
audience
for
as
you.
well.
Yep. A chat question for you, Grace. Would you have stuck with it if you weren't streaming it?
I think so, because I mean, I've definitely had a lot of useful. There's been one person in particular who's been incredibly useful in terms of backseating, which I normally hate. But in this kind of type of game, when there's so many intricacies with Dark Souls that if you don't know, you would just completely glaze over them and miss them completely. That's been helpful, but I feel like every time I've gone to stream Dark Souls and every time I've finished, I've always just been like, I just want to play more. Like, I just want to keep playing, and I have to hold off and only play it on stream. So I feel like I would still be playing it. I played Demon Souls a bunch off stream to just level up a little bit to make the streams run a bit smoother, so I wasn't dying. Even though I still died 230 times, trying to level up and get some more levels and stuff so that I was a little bit stronger moving forward on stream. But yeah, I think I would still be playing it. Probably not at the pace because I just don't have that much time off stream. But yeah, I think so. I really like the type of game. They're really fun, and they're like the world design and stuff, especially in 1, the way it was all intertwined was really clever. Like, it's just really well designed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Have you ever played Souls games?
I played the one that you raged at initially.
3.
Yep, and I spent about 3 hours on the tutorial boss.
I know that pain.
I remember there was like a right-hand turn where you met up with like just from memory, it was like an armadillo or a crab or something, which was some random boss before the actual big boss. And I just spent ages on that. And I'm going, nah, this must be a wrong turn. And so then I went down and it was, I couldn't. The crystal lizard, that's the one. Yeah, Liam knows. It was the crystal. Yeah, you took it's a troll. You leave it for later. Yeah. And how I was not to know that. So I've gone into this. I've come from the age group, the age category where at EB Games the hard title that came out while I was working was Ninja Gaiden. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if there's anyone out there that's actually played a Ninja Gaiden versus the Souls games. Very similar. It's by Team Ninja though. Apparently it's very, very tricky as well. So that's the one that I got through, again, the tutorial level.
Is that the one that just has lots of boobs in it?
Yeah, if I were to criticize Team Ninja, it was their objectification of females. Yes. So, but yeah, the actual gameplay itself is really, really quite tricky. Yeah, classic. So, it's fan service. I think they title it, which is just blatant objectification.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never played them, the Souls games, and I applaud your candor and your growth in getting back into that.
I think it's like actually. I mean, obviously not like drug addiction or anything, but there is definitely an addictive part to those types of games because you're always kind of chasing that next high of beating that next boss, and you will sit through 3 hours of torture and suffering to get that 2 minutes of like, fuck yes, I did it. Like, oh my God, like that little win. And it's kind of like Tarkov as well. Like with Tarkov, you're constantly getting killed and you're losing gear and you're just like suffering for the 2 minutes where you're like, that raid was insane. Hell yeah, totally worth all of the bullshit. Like it's
sounds
it's
a little
like
bit like trying to lift 100 kilos, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
Yeah.
You try and try, and then when you finally get it, you're like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
totally.
all of life's little things, and this was one of the shower thoughts that I had as well. I don't know how I was going to build it into today's conversation, but I actually might segue. It might be a segue into the fitness topic. I'm going to add it to my notes here.
Yeah, okay.
But just about happiness and just about the pursuit of happiness, and how I truly believe that happiness doesn't come from, getting things, getting stuff. Like if I walked up to a 100 kilo bar, never having lifted a bar, pick it up, I'm not going to be like, wow, I'm happy I lifted 100. It doesn't come from that. It comes from the struggle of getting to that point. So I'll leave that a little bit to a discussion a bit later.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'd like to move on to the ups and downs.
Yes, absolutely.
Like to start with your up of the week.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that because I don't have ups and or downs in my list. I've been super busy, but
neither do I. We can just freeball it.
Again, free ball it from October last year. The ups and downs. Yeah, it's been a while. So the ups and the downs. In terms of, I'll do the reverse poop sandwich, and we'll go with the downs first there.
Okay.
I suppose in terms of downs,
Is that when you sit on the toilet backwards, or like what?
No, that's the reverse kanga. That one. So, I think in terms of downs, I'm just looking around me and I'm having to think. Oh, so I'm gonna have some downs on behalf of other people. I think. I've got a couple of I've got a bunch of clients that work with me, and some of them have had some very I suppose mentally and just in their personal lives, lots of downs. Actually, a couple of them have had some downs there. And I find it's one of those things. I think I've built a relationship with them now where they'll message me and they'll say, "Hey, look, Jeff, I can't come to training today," and I'll be like, "All right, what's wrong? I'll have a bit of a chat, and then we kind of push through. And I think this is the moral of the story, is pushing into the ups now. Is making sure that you've got that constitution to push through the downs so that you can find that silver lining and everything. Where yeah, obviously the big downs have come from the fact that we can't travel, we can't see our families over Christmas. Like, a lot of us were able to see our families over Christmas, a lot of us weren't. So
a lot of us chose not to.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
avoid drama.
Sorry, when I say families, there I mean the
People in your lives,
the non-relative families,
yeah.
just the loved ones, I should
Yep.
say. Yep. So it would be the downs of adjusting the holiday period to not being able to see loved ones. But the upside, I risk repeating a topic here, was people were able to connect using social media for such a positive, in such a positive way.
Yeah,
where
totally.
a lot of us have seen social media as doom scrolling for a long time. It's now the connecting tool that it was meant to be. And I really do enjoy having that aspect of technology now working for us. Yeah. And so from that, I think the ups are that I've been super busy in both my day job and my side hustle job, which is basically nearly a main hustle job.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the ups there, is that FFP has been growing wildly. If you are watching me, you can see the silhouette of the brand new toy that we've got here as well.
I can't wait to try that.
So
Menacing.
yeah, it is. It's like the handles are just like two demonic horns.
For our audio only listeners, or anyone who's currently not watching the screens, FFP has a new toy, which is the M1 tank. I'm gonna explain what the M1 tank is. It's not an actual military vessel.
No, it's not a Sherman. No, it's a Torque M1 tank. So it's what I call a training sled. So traditionally, you've seen a lot of like football players and strong people. I don't like that it's called strongman events. So it's strong people events now.
Yeah.
But it's a training sled. It's designed to be heavy. It's designed to push against you when you're pushing it. But the upside to this
magnets.
one is it's magnets. Science.
work?
It's using science. I don't even know. They're adjustable resistance, and they're silent. So it's not like dragging a big steel piece of metal across concrete.
I can't.
You know that
handle
noise?
those ones.
Yeah,
I
it's
hate them
a
so
bad
much.
noise. It's a bad noise, and it damages the concrete and everything. So this has
Yeah.
got big rubber wheels, but magnets that also push against you. So yeah, silent training tool, which is one thing that obviously we're missing from the facility here, is something to push against. Which means I can bring the door up here and we can run up and down the street with a
it's going to be
big old
hard
tank.
to capture because obviously we don't want to show too much of the surrounding area
Correct,
for privacy reasons. But yeah, we might have to figure out a way that we can chuck a GoPro on there or something. And
Yeah, do a few
some
little
cool
pieces of content.
yeah,
Yep, absolutely,
I'm excited.
absolutely.
Really good. We can probably talk about that a little more in the fitness bits, like what
Yeah.
it's good for and what it does for you fitness wise. But
Yeah. So
I'm getting excited to use
it.
it.
So yeah, Chad is saying it does seem useful for streaming, but again, like, we don't want to dox ourselves. Number one, wireless cameras are very hard to rig up to it as well. But Twitch have got me on the list for the Australian IRL backpack.
Yeah.
Which is doing the rounds. So when that arrives, we'll let you guys know. Yeah. How are your ups and downs?
So I mean, this week it's kind of like I'm kind of just set into a routine again with like streaming, content creation and stuff. One thing I have been doing, and I think I spoke about it last time, was kind of like I was always, a couple years ago, always in the mindset of like I need to stream every day for like 9 hours, otherwise I'm like not gonna make it as a streamer or whatever. But I think over time, like you start to realize how, I mean, it works for some people. Like some people can do 12-hour streams every day for freaking 3 years, and that's like insane. But for me, I think my efforts are better focused in a variety of different ways rather than just focusing on Twitch. And that's kind of what I've been transitioning to over the last few months, is saying yes to more like fun sponsored opportunities. With obviously the commercials and stuff, I've had a lot of really fun stuff come up. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to be a part of those. I've got a couple that I'm currently working on as well. So, not stressing about if I have to have a Friday off to work on something else, which is then going to, create income in a different way that's not going to necessarily be from Twitch. And it will mean one less stream. But I think to be like a well-rounded creator, my Spotify just paused for some reason. My mic has been transmitting for 30 seconds. Spotify playback paused.
Oh, Spotify.
All right. That's fine. Random. So, yeah, transitioning and not stressing about having to miss a stream here and there and become a more well-rounded creator, creating things and, uploading onto YouTube every now and then and doing Instagram things and doing Twitter things and doing Twitch things and, yeah, doing lots of different stuff. I think that's probably been an up over the last few months. Also getting into Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if we've spoken about that. On Pipe Up.
I forgot about that. Oh.
So when did we start? We've done 5 sessions. There's about 8 of us, I think, in a group. I'm not going to specifically name names, but there's 8 of us doing DnD, and we're up to our 5th. It was a one shot originally, and then at the end of it, we were like, bit more. Can we get some more? Dungeon Master.
Our DM was quite cruel, and he said, "Yeah, this is a one shot," but then he left it so open ended, and we're just like, "Nah, there's no. We need more bagoop with this one. We need
more bagoop." And I think that's actually what I was going to bring up, like with the bagoop, with the social media being a positive thing, and especially Discord. Discord's been. Super Fiticus, who just lost his character.
Ups and downs.
Ups and downs, always. So, yeah, Discord especially has been such an amazing tool for us, being able to, all jump onto Discord for 4 to 6 hours or whatever and continue our campaign and get into roleplay as well, which is kind of the first time that I've understood. I think when you first hear about D&D, you're like, role play? What? Like, that's kind of weird. Like, I think as an outsider looking in, I was always like, I don't know if that's for me. I don't know if I'd get into that. And then I'm surprised that I thought that, because with video games and stuff, I get so immersed. Like, I get so fucking immersed. And then when you have a good dungeon master who writes you like a really interesting story, you just get sucked in. And I'm like, when can we play again? I just want to play more.
Yeah.
How have you found it?
I've like, it took me a while to get into the role-playing aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think one of the most fun aspects of what we've been doing is watching people slowly drop their inhibitions and start to build a bit more of a storyline. Our DM, I can't sing his praises high enough in that he's often contacting us outside of the game itself, and making sure that we've got motivation. You hear about it when actors do method acting and when they're actually they have to encompass the character that they're playing, and they have to have a motivation as to why you're doing things. Why is it that we should travel the party here, or why is it that why is that person doing this thing? And I'm a big proponent of that. And just in case the people that we play with are watching as well, I won't put too much out there, but I've come up with a really, really big backstory that the DM knows about, and so that's slowly being interwoven into the game there. But just watching people being able to, okay, look, we've got this chance here now, and we're not in combat. I'm going to go talk to this person over here and have a chat. And it's like, whoa, okay, hell, what's going on? Yeah,
I get so triggered when I get a shit roll though. Like, I'm like, I know there's info here. I need to know. Oh, I rolled a nat one. Sick.
Yeah, investigation 1. I've fallen over and all the books have burned it. They've caught on fire. Gone.
All the evidence is burned and gone forever.
Yes.
And we'll never know.
Yep.
It's like, come on, I've got like +6 and I'm still getting like under friggin' 10s.
Yeah, the library's burnt down and your kittens run away with your dice. So you're done. You're done.
Yeah, I guess like just to give a brief overview of the D&D, like maybe just our characters. Like my character is a half orc ranger. I'm also a beastmaster, so I've got a panther called Obsidian, and my characters are very much like a lone wolf. Doesn't trust easily. Has been burned in the past by other groups, so very cautious of any new people coming into the party and even the existing party as it is. I'm kind of like always kind of hanging back, and the sudden sense of danger, I've got my bow drawn, I'm ready to like murder people. So
ready to go.
That's kind of my character's vibes. How about yours?
So mine's a Goliath paladin, which is like the Goliaths are generally a mountain dwelling sort of monkish type person, but not a monk, because monk is a separate class there. And the paladin is like a healing, sort of a healing magic, but carries a big axe kind of thing. So the spells that I've got are involving bringing HP back to people, but then also detecting poisons, detecting good and evil, and that sort of thing. So that's my person, and coincidentally, another one of our group actually, when we were independently creating our characters, also made a Goliath paladin. So the DM found that opportunity to make us brothers, and so we've got a little bit of an intertwined story as well.
What are the odds of you two picking the same like class and everything?
We could figure that out, like with some quick multiplication, but that's always quick math. It's pretty crazy. That we'd both pick that. Yeah. math.
Yeah, really enjoying it. And it's not something, I'm sure there'll be people that are wondering, it's not something I'm going to make content around. It's something that I just really like doing on a weekend away from the internet, and having just something that I can enjoy with my friends and not have to worry about, people backseating me and telling me how to play, because I get enough of that Monday to Friday on Twitch.
I feel like D&D would have a lot of backseaters.
I think there'd be a lot of like elitists where, I don't know.
Passionate people, I think.
Yeah, I think people that would be like, you're doing it wrong, or that's not how that's meant to work. And it's like, you know what? Just let us do our thing. Like, you just
cast magic missile.
Just do
cast
D&D
magic missile.
However the heck you want to do it, mate. Whatever makes you happy.
You should roll a 12 next time. You should have rolled a 12. Yeah.
Of course. How silly of me. I didn't want to roll a 1. So now this game works.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So in terms of downs, I don't know. I don't think I really have any major things. Just like you said, like you just kind of roll the punches, and there hasn't really been anything outstanding.
I think we're too good at. Yeah, I think you and I are very good at taking the downs and sort of quickly either moving past them or converting them into something we can use.
Yeah. I think something for me, I guess, like that was kind of highlighted over the last few months is the vast differences that I have with my family. And some people may consider it selfish, but I chose not to really hang out and spend time with my family over Christmas time because I just wanted to avoid drama. There's like 2020 was stressful enough. I didn't want to be involved with, people that supported very different beliefs than me, and maybe perhaps even denied that COVID exists. And it just didn't want to put myself in a situation where I had to try and educate or have an argument with or have some kind of conflict with when I'm just trying to have a nice Christmas and break, because I get like no time off anyway. So I chose not to. I saw my mum separately to the rest of my family, and it was really nice. And I'm glad that I did what I did, because otherwise it would have been a fucking shit show. To put it really lightly.
Yeah. So we've got a mutual friend whom I dropped off to the airport, who was going to see her family as well. And there was a pretty poignant discussion about how it seems it's expected of our society. It's expected that people have time with their family and enjoy that time with your family over the holidays. Where these days we kind of question why is it that way? And if it's actually going to put you into some mental turmoil to see people and force yourself into those situations, you can't choose your family. You can choose your friends. You can choose the people you associate with. But if your family, like we always say in the fitness and in the mental health here, surround yourself with positive people. If the positive people are not in your family, then why is it that we're forced to put ourselves through that?
Yeah,
So,
totally.
yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, it's your family. You have to love them. Not really. Like, blood it doesn't give you the right to treat people with disrespect and like hurt them on a regular basis. And if people are treating you like that, you have every right to be like, you know what, you're toxic. I'm gonna remove myself from the situation and take control of how I'm spoken to. And it's, the same kind of mindset that we have with our communities as well. If you're going to disrespect me or the people around me that I care about, I'm just going to remove you. Like, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome to have an impact on my psyche.
And Yoga Hana's just pointed out a great quote from Dan Savage. We have our biological family and then we have our logical family.
Totally.
Yeah. Totally. I like that.
Love that. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think it's something that I think people put out there that you just have to do it. Like, it's just what you got to do. It's your family. You can't, like, there's nothing you do about it. It's like, no, you can 100% yeet them out of your life if they're treating you like shit and making you feel like shit. Like, you're in control of you and that's it. And if it makes you feel better not connecting with those people and doing your own thing, and it's, it's something that one of our friends has been dealing with as well. Like, their family's not super supportive of what they do. And it's like, why should they have a say? Like, it's your life. And if you want to make certain choices they don't agree with it, how is that any of their business to have an opinion on it at all? Like,
if it was a friend, if it wasn't someone related by blood, you would quickly
like,
say, look,
shit,
why?
then.
I don't need you. I don't need that.
Yeah.
But because it is biological, we feel like we feel like we owe them, which
Totally.
I would question. I don't understand.
Yeah.
When we think about it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
Fucking families.
So
I think that's something we can all relate to.
Yeah, and if not relate to directly, there's usually someone somewhere in your family that's a little bit questionable, or that you would question yourself. So yeah. No worries.
Do you want to move
So
on
ups
to
and downs.
Tech Talk?
Tech Talk.
Pressing
the button. There we go. Tech Talk. Nice.
So you go.
Oh, you go ahead. I think the first one on my list actually relates more to yourself than myself.
Yeah. So big differences coming up. I know that my gaming setup video has been out for a little while now, but as always, the ever-evolving gaming setup.
Evolution. Yes.
Yep. I'm going to be getting a couple new things. I'm getting some new monitors. So getting some 27-inch monitors from Omen, which is going to replace this 25 in front of me and this ultra-wide next to me. This ultra-wide is I'm going to go into with my VR setup, which is going to have one of these 2080s from this system. If you're watching or listening on audio, I'm pointing at my PC. So my current PC has two 2080 Ti's, and I've got a new RTX 3080 from NVIDIA that is going to be replacing those two cards. Those two cards then are going to go one into the FFP machine, which Jeff is currently streaming from, and one is going to go into a VR rig so that I can run my VR from a bit of a more powerful system. Jeff is going to be constructing the majority of this.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more involved than what Grace has just
that's a very simple.
There. Yeah. Yeah, because as you all know, if you can see over Grace's shoulder there's lots of fancy blue pipes and things attached to those 2080s. So it means that anything that they go into is going to need a whole bunch of plumbing done as well. So there's plumbing required. There's on top of that, because there's plumbing required, there's going to need to be actual measured out cases. So cases that can fit all these things. So
it's proven a lot more difficult than we thought.
Yeah, especially when I don't have things on hand to actually like touch and feel and see what's going to fit in and then there's bits needed before we can measure them up and yada yada yada. So that's going to be a fun tech adventure. But like you said, it's ever evolving. It's a fun time. And I know a lot of people have upgraded recently to the 30 series cards. So I know a lot of people know the anticipation and the frustration. So the two sides of that coin for updating your technology. Yeah. So that's some tech stuff.
In addition to that as well is going to mean that this stream is going to start to run off of eventually. Is going to be a dual PC setup. So I think I've probably pushed as far as I can with a single PC setup. Like this thing is amazing for what it is. Like it's amazing system, and for streaming from one PC, it's done great things for my channel. Like it's super smooth and everything looks really good. But there are limitations with a single PC setup, and I think the next like logical move for me at like trying to improve my content creation and the quality that I'm outputting, the next logical step is a dual setup, which is going to include some complications.
Many. And it stems from the fact that this, like, the hardware's absolutely top notch to quote, but the software itself can't take advantage of the power that the hardware's got. So you do kind of have to split it into two bits there.
And unfortunately, the bitrate limitations are
the other side of things, bitrate limitations, and just threading limitations where things like OBS just can't take advantage of your multi-core CPU and GPUs and stuff. So splitting it out is going to make that easier. But like what you say, where do you plug the headphones in? How do you join the audios? How do you keep everything in sync? How do you make sure that everything doesn't fall over at the same time, et cetera, et cetera? How do you fit two keyboards and mice onto your desk?
Yeah, I think I'm going to get like a little tray to like pull out, because it's not going to be something I'm going to need to use a lot. I'm hoping if it's like smooth. Thinking of that, like how is everything going to be set up? I remember Anne Munition, she's a very popular Twitch streamer. It was like a couple years ago, she did like this big epic diagram of how her dual PC setup works and where everything's plugged in and stuff. So it might be worth having a look at that, actually. I remember seeing it being the fuck, because I was on a pretty basic setup when I first saw that. I was like, what?
and it is also limited by and this was going to be the next topic on the tech talk, but if you're watching both of our streams here in a squad stream, you'll see Grace has got the fantastic headset from Logitech, the 733s, which are a USB wireless headset. Whereas I'm using a couple of new cans that I've got here, which is a 3.5
so fluffy.
mil.
I just want to touch them.
I don't know if I'm a fan of the silver fluffy bits, but you can get black ones to replace them with. So
very shiny.
They are super comfortable. But these are a set of studio monitoring headsets with a 3.5 mil plug. So obviously I can use these really easily with the again, if you're looking at Grace's stream, the Rodecaster Pro. The fancy schmancy interface over there.
I feel like I'm wearing nothing at all. No cables. That's right. Super light.
And so just routing a dual PC setup, to hear the gameplay, you'd be able to do that just fine with your headset, Grace. But then when it comes to actually listening for alerts from the streaming PC, you got to do some funny routing through software for that.
With the Elgato's, I'm guessing,
potentially sound capture.
Stupid sexy headset.
But it's gonna cables for audio every time. So Rode mics is in chat as well, and Rode mics obviously huge supporter of the streams with the Rodecaster Pros and the mics here. Cables will always be much lower latency than software, but again, it's going to be an interesting time. So we'll get through that.
It's going to be a fun project, I think, and it's always good to learn new ways of doing things, and if it means a better output, I think it's definitely worth it. It's going to cost a bit. Like, this is all kind of out of pocket because like Omen really only do pre-builds, so that's my PC sponsor, so we're just going to have to buy, nondescript cases and bits and pieces here and there. So for me, the way that I've set up my company as well is it's all write-off. So no one pays for it.
Who pays for it?
It's free. It does require a little bit of investment, but that's fine for me because my overheads are literally just like my rent and my power bills, and so it's always good to have some investments and things that you can use as a tax write-off.
As our resident accountant in chat would agree, you always do have to find some good expenses.
Accountant is a fake job. It's not real, Jeff.
No, but you have to spend money to make money. That's another business topic there that we could talk about. But also just keeping things up and running, keeping them.
I'll pay you in Twitch subs though.
Exposure.
I'll pay you exposure.
I work for exposure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. So that's going to be a lot of the tech journey. Yeah, I've seen some horror stories over the past 3 months of people with their PCs and things. And look, it's always good to be
Buy
safer
it nice
than sorry.
or buy it twice.
Yeah, exactly. Also, don't mess with overclocking and stuff unless you've got another PC that is your daily drive. It's like someone with a performance car. You don't often see them driving their Ferraris around every day. They've got a Corolla for everyday stuff, and their Ferraris are for showing off on the weekend. So,
Totally.
yeah, you be sensible about these things, especially when for you, your PC and your streaming setup is your bread and butter.
Yeah, it's my livelihood. If it's not working,
Yeah.
I can't work. So like, it can't be dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Like my family.
Actually, unless you're, unless you're the owner of road, that's right. If you are the owner of road, you can drive around whichever car you want on any given day. That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. With your guitar in the back.
And your bag of cream.
Yeah. And so I wanted to, I suppose, moving to my tech talk, I wanted to have a quick chat about headsets, because headsets is something that I've had a lot of, or I've overseen, or I've borne witness to a lot of discussions about headsets. I see in the Grace fam, when we do our Discord calls and things, there's lots and lots of people with the fancy smancy 733s.
We literally have someone with every color now. It's the best.
yeah. And you do recommend them as a gaming headset? You like them?
I love them, yeah. I barely touched the Astro like A50s again. It's just so light. It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic of it on stream, especially with my space. Like it fits in super well. The only thing I will say is like days where, and I was actually going to be like, hey, Logi, can you send me a black pair? Because I kind of want one that is less kind of out there for when I do like horror looks, or, you know, just kind of more like when I'm not being like just me, I kind of want something that I can have something that's not distracting. So that's when I usually use the A50s. Or something that's not really that branded. If brands want to do something, they're like, that doesn't really fit the aesthetic, I'll be like, I'll use the black ones.
I'll take the advice from a Queer Eye, and sometimes you want a feature piece, but sometimes if your makeup is the feature piece, then you tone down the headset.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So I do, like, obviously with I've spoken about it a couple of times, like the differences with this headset and the A50s. The A50s has the base station and also the plug that can go into the Rodecaster. So if I wanted to like monitor from the Rodecaster and be able to hear the buttons and the sound effects and things, I would need to use the A50s plugged into it, which you can't do with this because it's USB. But
yeah. And that's part of the discussion where people often, and they'll often go to you as well, Grace, because you do the hardware unboxings and reviews on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And people will come to you as as an authority in the technology. And sometimes they're not actually asking the right questions, I find. They'll be asking things of you that, number one, you probably can't answer. And number two, they're really something that's going to be dependent upon the person and how they're using something.
It's really hard when someone's like, what headset should I get? I'm like, I got like 10 follow-up questions before we can get to that. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, what should I do to lose weight?
How much time you got?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think you had a little bit of an idea or some questions that you wanted to that the people should be asking themselves when they are in the market for headsets. And you, like the two that we're showing off now, they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but you can see they can both be used for the same thing as what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So on Grace's end, she's got the gaming headset. It does actually have the attachable mic for that one as well.
Yeah.
We're obviously not. We're obviously not using that because the quality of headset mics. First and foremost, people should know that headset mics just are a lower quality than a decent.
I mean, look at the size difference. Like.
Yeah.
And this is plugged into a giant mixer.
Exactly.
You're not going to get the same quality out of a tiny little thing that's this big.
And the reason for that is that your larynx is actually about 2 to 3 inches across. So to capture...
My larynx is slightly bigger than that, mate.
Right. So show us your larynx. All right. So to capture the sound that your larynx and your throat actually produces, you need something of a similar size to capture the compressions and rarefactions of air. So to do that, you need something nice and large. Whereas you get an approximation out of a small piezoelectric transducer. But yeah, just number one, if you're in the market for a headset, if it's got an attachable headset mic, then it's okay for chatting to your mates in Rainbow Six or whatever. But if you're a streamer, If you're a streamer, you're gonna want to head away from the headset microphones.
Yeah. We say it all the time as well. Like audio number one over visuals, 100%. Like if you go into a stream and the audio quality is rubbish, see ya.
Yeah,
If the video is a little shitty,
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And Road Mike's, it is good to have you in chat as well, because he's just said that you can get great quality out of a well-designed lapel mic. And it's amazed that more companies don't use them in their headsets. Yeah, I've wondered that a lot. But technology has come a real long way.
I mean, if you did want something portable, like with a headset, you could just lapel onto the. Like, I think that's what PewDiePie does actually. I don't know if he does anymore, but I remember at one point PewDiePie had like his brand that we don't speak about headset on with the mic coming down, and he had a lapel attached to that. And then like corded back.
Funny you should mention that, and you probably don't see it because you're under a headset. But whenever you did your VR streams, that's exactly how we'd do your audio. Yeah. We'd have the lapel actually attached to the
That's
the
why
boom.
it sounded so nice.
So crispy. Yeah. That's it. So yeah, we. That's the first thing. What are your use cases? Are you a streamer? Are you someone that's actually going to be producing music? Are you wanting to listen to music?
That's probably the most important thing.
Is that what you'd have on your list?
What are you willing to spend? Number one. Because people are going to be like, $100. Be like, well, good luck with that.
See you later. See you later. Yeah.
You can't even get like freaking earbuds for that.
Funnily enough, when I'm shopping for tech, that's the last thing on my list. Price. Like you said, you got to buy it nice or buy it twice. Yeah. So I don't want to look at the price tag until right at the end when I've got something that's going to be fit for purpose.
I mean, the thing that, the people that often come in and ask that are usually younger as well, though. So that's like number one for them. They're like, I have this many monies and I want this thing. It's like,
I would like 0 kids and 3 monies, please.
Just want all the monies.
Yeah.
So that's normally like a big factor. And I think that was probably one of my biggest arguments between this headset and the A50s, because this one's $299 USD and the A50s I think are like $550 USD.
Yes. Yep.
And yet I use this one daily.
Yeah.
So like price doesn't always determine better quality or like.
That's right. The other big feature set, and the other big feature set of headsets that I'd want to mention as well is for gamers. It's a completely different type of headset that is often produced but is also sold to gamers. As from someone that's doing some audio production. So audio production, what you'll find is that they often sell what they call studio reference or monitoring headphones, where they try and flavor the sound as little as possible. So there's no EQing on it, and the reproduction of the frequencies is very, very matched to what went into the microphone in the first instance. Yeah. So in gaming mode though, you'll often find that a lot of the gaming headsets come with software which have a whole bunch of buttons and presets for different EQ settings. So there'll be things for like listening to footsteps, or things for like big booming bass, or listening to rock music, and all those EQ levels and things like that. Whereas for studio reference headsets, they often don't ever talk about that stuff. It's something that you're gonna plug with a 3.5mm or a 1/4" jack into a piece of studio equipment, and you're just gonna get what comes out of that.
I remember I made a video once at PAX using the Rode Reporter mic. And I had that plugged directly into a camera. And then I watched the video, made it through Premiere. It was all cool. And then I posted on YouTube and people were like, where's the mic audio? And the mic had recorded, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it just recorded like one, it was like left or right track or something. So then when it was only when people were listening on mobile, there was my audio was completely dead.
No, I remember that. Do you know what? We're going to get technical. I get excited by this because this is actually quite scientific.
Yeah.
What had happened was that it had recorded the same audio on both channels, but one of the sides was inverted by 180 degrees. So those of you that know the physics behind this, right? The physics behind it, it's called destructive cancellation. Phase cancellation, exactly, Rode Mike. So what had happened is that if you've got a headset, you can hear one in one ear and one in the other ear. But if you've got a mobile phone, like the Samsung devices, where it mixed both channels into a mono channel and played it through one speaker, cancelled. Bang, gone. So that was what happened with that one. It was a
Yeah.
very interesting phenomenon.
And I was like, what do
Yes.
you mean? What are you people talking about? I was listening on my computer. I'm like, it's fine. I watched it on, I think
It's
it was on
fine.
Apple, it was okay, but on Samsung or something, it was broken. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm watching on my phone. It's fine. I'm watching on here. It's fine. I'm looking at my Premiere. I'm like, what the fucking shit? Like, what is happening? It's
Yeah,
fine, you dummies. And I'm like, oh.
And actually, people with a
So
really
crazy.
keen ear, believe it or not, there are people with a really keen ear. And for those of you in the audio industry, you laugh at this one. They're often called mastering engineers because there's a strange voodoo behind that. But they'll be able to notice the 180-degree cancellation in a headset. They'll know when one ear is off and one ear isn't.
Yeah, right.
I haven't met many of these people, but they're absolute artists, these guys. But Road Mike's did ask a good question. Do I think there's an argument to be made about listening to games the way that the developer intended without EQing? I am 100% behind that idea. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll often see things like the Astros and whatnot, and all of those gaming headsets that come with software, often saying things like 7.1 surround sound, ooh, those things. Now, games are not written in 7.1. They're written, designed for two ears, a left and a right. And within the game, they have a lot of software there that actually tries to flavor the audio depending on if it's behind you or in front of you. Have you ever wondered, you've only got two ears, Grace, how is it that you know that there's a sound coming from in front of you or behind you if you've only got two ears to triangulate with? It's an interesting one. The reason is that you've got these weird those canals. You've got the fleshy things on each side of your ear. So something behind you sounds different to something in front of you because of the way that the frequencies are flavored.
Yeah, right.
So software does that.
Science.
Yeah. And if you try and add in something crazy like 7.1 on top of that, then it just gets weird and funky. And it's yeah. So to be honest, Road, I don't know about other gamers, but for me, I'm always a turn 7.1 off, turn surround sound Dolby DTS off, and just have it the way that the game intended it to be. And if it's bad, then
You
it's
think
bad.
that would be the best way though, right? Like,
yeah, that's
think
right. But
the
you'll find
audio engineers and artists that work on the games would know how to mix them.
exactly.
master them.
But you find that default out of the box, when you plug in all these gaming headsets, they have all of that surround sound on top of the game audio. It's on
Yeah.
by default. So you
I'm
have to
pretty
go
sure
in and
some
turn
of
it all off.
the Astro presets as well. When you go in, the curves gnarly. Like,
It's gnarly. It's not
what
right.
is this
It's not
EQ?
right. Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately for people that don't know any better, when they go buy these things, they stick them on and they go, "Nah, that sounds like crap. Like, why would anyone buy this?" But it's just because they haven't gone through and set the audio up and the EQ up properly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Do you think there's a general consensus of what sounds good, or do you think it's like really subjective of what?
So there's a
people
brand I
prefer?
forget. Yeah, I forget the name of the headset, but they did a lot of rounds on social media
The
a while
Nura
back
or
where.
something?
Yeah, those ones, the Neuras.
People are like,
Where
"Wow,
people.
it's amazing.
Oh,
Best
oh,
thing
it
I've
sounds
ever
so
heard.
good."
Wow, it's a game
So,
changer."
I don't know if you've ever looked into them. The way that system works is that they actually give you the headset for free. Like you get the headset, it costs you nothing, but you sign up for a monthly
Sign me
subscription.
up. Oh,
Yeah. So you sign up for a monthly subscription based on their software. So what it does is when you first get them, you stick them on your head and you go through about 15 minutes worth of testing where they do beeps and they do different noises and you answer questions, and it sets the EQ specific to your ears. So
Yeah,
everything at that point, you look at the app and it says, okay, I'm listening to this song. I want to sound like I'm standing right up at the stage, or I want to sound like I'm standing at the nosebleed section. So it is all, you're paying for the EQ, you're paying for all of that stuff. But the process that you go through to set up the EQ in the first instance makes things sound good to you.
right.
So yeah, everyone does have a different EQ pattern. I've been told by one of the fellow drummers at my office that I should go visit someone that he visited recently because he's had his ears checked out and basically there's all sorts of things going wrong from years worth of drumming. And
Can you
they
fix
were able
it?
to. Yeah,
Wow.
apparently you can. So
What?
he's been going through some. Ah. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Audio is fascinating in applications like that. And Potato Merv just said Hellblade did take advantage of the 7.1.
Oh, Hellblade was
Yeah.
amazing. So
That
very
had
good.
great audio design. That was really, really cool. Just listening on the other end of stream, you can hear how much work went into that one. But yeah, that's the reason why personally I use studio reference headsets, because I'd like things to be heard as they were intended or as close to, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret that I use Logitech because I'm sponsored by them, but I just genuinely love how these look and sound and feel. And
I felt them. They're comfortable. They're so comfortable.
15 hours, so I can do a 12-hour stream, not change batteries, and just, you know, like as an all-round headset for me and with my sponsors in mind, like this is the one that I choose to use. So I'm sure, you know, there's probably other headsets out there that are a good option too. But
yeah,
I choose to be with Logi, so that's why I use
one thing I didn't touch on in the what to look for in a headset is how good do they look? And the ones on your head look smashing. They just fit the aesthetic. Smashing. So yeah.
I think
and also
it is something like as a streamer as well. Like it is it's the only peripheral you see. I mean, besides mic, if you want to count that as a peripheral, I suppose. But like you don't see keyboard and mouse really for the most part, unless you're like a pro player that has the keyboard and hand cam or whatever. You know, like even Stream Deck and like everything else, like it just doesn't get seen. But the headset is like the star of the show. So I think for me, having something that is really like aesthetic and matches my vibes is definitely important when I'm going down the list of what I will look for in a headset. Contrary to you, absolutely. That is always like monitoring number one. Like monitoring quality,
yeah, for me, And the other thing is those are closed back, so the isolation from the outside noise. These models that I've got on my head, they're the fully open back, so I can hear everything going on as well as what's being played through my ears.
Yeah.
So it's I do enjoy that. I like that a lot more.
Yeah, I did. Like, it took me a little while to get used to it because these have probably the most noise cancelling. Like when I take it off, I'm like, whoa, my god, like hearing, you know, like when you push your hands on your ears and you talk, and you can kind of like hear yourself inside your head, and it sounds kind of weird. Like that's probably the major thing for me, that like getting used to these took a little bit of time, because the A50s, they don't have anywhere near as much noise cancelling. They do have like full formed ear cups. They're not like open back or anything, but like they just don't noise cancel as much, because I use the felt ear cups. So you can use the like leather, or what is it, leatherette ones. And they noise cancel quite a lot because they kind of like suction onto your ears. So they were very noise cancelling, but the velvet ones in the A50s weren't. So coming over to this, and I was like getting used to because I'd never monitor my mic either. I hate hearing myself through my head's like mics. I'm just like, nah, shut up, weirdo. So yeah, hearing myself kind of in my head was something that I had to get used to. But I think as an all-round headset, like looks, feel, lightweight, wireless, like the boxes that it ticked as a pro outweighed the having to adjust to hearing inside head. Grace.
Yep.
Is there a word for that? I don't know how to ever explain it.
Oh, I found it once before. It's the resonance from your sinuses. That's what it is. And that's why when you're singing in the shower to yourself, or maybe not you, but someone that's singing in the shower goes, "Oh, I sound fantastic," and then they go and sing karaoke.
And shit as well.
Yeah. It's because you've got all of the resonance and the reverb that people in the studio would put onto someone. I shouldn't
go on Australian Idol.
Ah.
God. My dreams just squashed.
Smashed. Ruined. Yeah. Bone conduction. It's a little bit like that. It's where you're picking up the things in your head that other people can't hear because they're not getting the resonance of your skull.
Like when you're chewing and you're like, fuck, it's really loud, but it's really not, because you're just like,
oh, look, I've been told that I'm loud outside of my head as well. So that's I can't relate.
Shut up, Jeff.
Shut up. Yep. Oh, nice. So I think that's enough tech talk. I think I've covered everything there.
Yep.
The headsets. So I was actually really, really, really excited to talk about that because I purchased these ones yesterday. These are my new studio monitoring, which apparently they haven't changed design in 25 years. They were designed like this 25. Yep, nailed it.
Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Exactly. So yeah, very cool. Nice. And these are my new comfy headsets.
Yeah, they look nice. Feel good with glasses.
Amazing with glasses. That's
also something that you want to take into account if you do wear glasses full time.
Yeah.
Is it comfortable?
Sometimes so you'll see that whenever I'm doing pipe up, I'm wearing these frames. They're my little Perspex ones. I do have some that I wear for fitness, but if I wear a headset with them, they dig into the back of my head. It doesn't matter what the headset is. So it can depend on the glasses that you wear. But to be honest, I wore these for about 6 hours yesterday. Fantastic. They're so good. Yep.
Something to note with this one, with the placement of the RGBs, if you do wear glasses, it can reflect, depending on how wide your frames are, it can, like, you might see it in the corner of your glasses and it, like, reflects in. So, yeah, something to note with the RGBs. You can turn them off if you don't like it, but, yeah, if you're a glasses wearer.
Yep. So these haven't changed for 25 years, and Yoga Hunters just said, if it ain't broke, don't reinvent the wheelhouse.
That's perfect.
Perfect.
Exactly.
100%.
Nailed it.
Top notch.
All right, moving on that note to the Piper picks. So the Piper picks, if you are new to the show, or just need a little refresh because it's been 3 months since our last episode. So we talk about our picks of the most recent times, no specific time.
No specific recentness with these ones.
So I've got a show, a movie, and a game that I'm going to talk about. We've got the same, right?
I think they're the same, similars. So we can just chat about them. What you got? What you got?
So I mean, I've watched a lot since the last episode, but I think the most recent one and the one that I want to talk about today was Superstore, which is a comedy. You call it sitcom, right?
Sitcom. Yep.
It's and like what a is comedy. It's written by Justin Spitzer, who worked on The Office. He also worked on Scrubs, which I think when you watch it more and more, you kind of see those similarities.
It's very Scrubsy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Dina, like the assistant manager, is very much like Dwight from The Office.
Yeah.
It's definitely that same kind of vibe. So there's like, the boss is like a goofy kind of bit dull kind of guy who tries really hard. He's very much like Michael Scott now that I think about it. He tries to put himself out there a lot, and he's just kind of like a boring dude. He's just like, nondescript kind of white guy. And then, you've got your characters in the show. There's like a young girl who's like 16 and pregnant, deciding what to do with her partner and the kid. And then the two main characters, I don't know their names, but one of them's from Mad Men. Funny
I can't remember
chemistry
the names now.
with them, and it's just really funny. So it's based in basically it's like a Walmart, I guess. Just a shop that has everything from guns to makeup to food and all that type of stuff.
I think every time, like every episode, they try and highlight some new product that they've got in there. Like there was drones, or there's washing machines, or just something random.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun. There's like 5 seasons. There's like 113 episodes, I think. I think I'm in like season 2 or something, so still relatively new, but it's just like a good easy watch. Chuck it on the episodes. So I think they're like 25-30 minutes long. It's just kind of one of those, leave your brain at the door, just have a good fun time and watch some shenanigans. And I just really like shows like that. Like there's a lot of really great shows on Netflix at the moment, but I just kind of feel like not having to think or feel anything.
Yeah, I relate kind of having worked in retail as well to a lot of what happens in that.
It is on Netflix, I'm pretty sure it's on full Netflix. I know it's definitely on Australian Netflix.
Bill, it's called Superstore.
Superstore,
yeah. So it takes, like, I suppose in Australia, the big W's are the Targets, or the Walmart equivalent in the US there. And yeah, I find it's hilarious the way that they have the management structure from The Office, but then like just the interactions between workers, like in Scrubs. So it's kind of like the best of both of those mixed in. Yeah, very, very cool. Very cool.
And like dealing with corporate and stuff. It's like,
oh my
God, there's an episode where the heater's on like really hot and they're like, oh, can we turn it down? It's like, oh, corporate controls the heat. And it's just like, they're all just dying in this store when it's snowing outside. Like,
and corporate's like, oh, well, our sensors say it should be fine.
The computers don't make mistakes,
yeah,
so we're not going to turn it down. And Brett, the character, he's like, he just has no lines. And he's just like this old guy who just has this really grumpy face. And he's just like, it's just the best character in the show. He's got no lines, but he's the best.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah.
There are so many little pop culture references as well that would skip past you. Like there's one scene where I swear it's taken the scene out of the film clip for Smells Like Teen Spirit, where a guy's mopping up pickles and he goes to pick up a pickle, and it's like that scene. He just eats it off the floor. Where it's like, oh, that's Nirvana. That's Nirvana. So
It's
yeah,
a
there's
little
so
like
many
in
little
between
references.
transition thing. Like instead of them having a stinger, they've got like someone like taking a shit in the store toilet or something. Just like
Something random.
little things that you know would happen. Like a woman picks up a nice mug and you think she's looking at it, and then she puts her gum in it, and it's like you would definitely see that shit. Like you saw shit at EB Games.
The
That
worst.
was like
the
people
worst.
pooping in the store. It's like, what are you doing?
I never thought I'd
In
have to clean
retail.
up a human poop before having a child in a game store.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Someone that wasn't related to me, I've cleaned up their poop because it just happened in an EB game store. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Worst. Yeah.
So would
So
recommend.
that's a
It's
cool.
really funny.
So a couple of thumbs up, couple of
2 thumbs up from this guy.
Yep, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Nice. Speaking of shows, if we're going to go from shows to shows, the
Yeah.
one that I had on my list, reluctantly watched through, I think, Auntie Donna.
Oh
Or
yeah.
Auntie Donna. Auntie Donna. I didn't know what to expect from this.
I have a lot of questions about Auntie Donna.
Yeah. So
Why is she on
Aunt-
crack?
the thing was I ended up going to work a few times, and then people were saying things like eggs, or and I'm like, what are you talking about? And they were all giggling to themselves, and they go, you gotta
Everything's a
watch
drum.
this show.
Everything's a drum.
Yeah, it's like what do
Yeah.
you mean? It's not a drum. And then you ever heard of eggs? So I'm like, what is it? So I got into it, and I think the first episode I watched was with some other people, and it was like, what's going on? And then pushed through.
I was
But it
very
turns out,
confused.
yeah, it's a little bit like the Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job, where the title itself is just a mishmash of words
Yeah.
that can maybe form loose English, but it's a trio of comedians. So a lot of the skits from the show
Aussie
are
comedians for those that don't know.
Aussie
The
comedians,
trio.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So a lot of the things from the show are actually parts of their stage act
Mm-hmm.
that they've adapted to a television show and put some sort of a loose plot around it as well. So yeah, that I would say if you're a fan of random comedy like Tim and Eric, slapstick
What type
comedy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what type of comedy is that? It's just
I don't know what the genre would be.
because I don't think I wouldn't say it's a bad show by any means.
No.
I think a lot of it, like I laughed a lot watching it, but I think it was kind of a what the actual fuck is happening? This is insane kind of laugh. I was like,
I feel-
what the fuck? Like,
I feel like it's the durian
much
fruit
confusion.
of comedy, where it's like I smell like this smells like you shouldn't be eating it. It doesn't smell right, and then you eat it,
That's a great
and it's
comparison.
actually it's tasty. I like this. But so yeah,
the durian fruit of comedy. Quote it.
Yeah,
Quote
quote it. Yeah, Finn. So Dr. Steve Brule, and you have all of those sort of cameo. Like the first episode has their dishwasher is a character
And then
in the
like,
actual.
do
they
interviews
personify
for a
it
new
and-
roommate and
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
in with a
So-
mustache on. It's like it's really funny. We're like, I don't know. I feel like it's funnier talking back about it than actually watching it. You know what I mean? Like thinking about it now, I'm like, that's fucking funny. But then you're watching it like, why?
Why
Is there a
is it-
dishwasher? Why
why
does
is it funny?
speak? Like,
I'm still actually trying to
Why
get
is
over that
there a
last skit. I
lime?
can't. Yeah.
why is
So
there
the
a
Steve-
mouse in the freezer?
Yeah, absolutely, Finn. The Steve Brule show was a spin-off from Tim and Eric. So you'll find that a lot of these people actually work together as well. That when they do travel, they will have appeared on the Tim and Eric show. So a lot of them have a very. I don't know if there's much more. Whenever I see shows like this, I wonder if there's much more left in comedy or in a genre that they've just gone to some crazy length to reinvent content, if that makes sense. But I suppose there's always going to be new things that people can think of. And
I mean, and obviously, like, it's always awesome seeing Aussies doing stuff, especially stuff that's super different. And if they got to deal with Netflix, people obviously liked it. So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm here for it, even though I don't regret watching it. Like, I try to like, I wouldn't say it's my favorite show, but like, I feel like I experienced something watching it, and
I
it gave us
think
something
the
to talk
first-
about. So here we are.
yeah. And see, the first time I saw it was an ad with Weird Al Yankovic, and I'm like, oh, cool. I like Weird Al.
He
I
was
like
in it for,
comedy.
like,
Let's have it.
2 seconds.
It was a 2-second bit.
It was so, I was
and-
like, wait, is he not like the host of this? Or it made it look like he was like a star. And I was like, Then he came up and I'm like, is he coming back? Please.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
Who was your favorite out of the trio?
Ah.
I don't know their names, so you can just describe
I don't
them.
know the names. So
It's the guy with the long hair, the guy with glasses, or the like
beard.
really plain looking guy with the brown hair.
The plain looking guy
brown.
with the... Oh, the one... Okay, so
He's
the...
blonde.
Yeah, so there's... Yeah, he reminds me a lot. If you think back, if you're old enough, you'll remember the Jumoan show. And Jumoan actually had a mate, a really Aussie mate, bald head, square jaw, and he'd come across very serious about things. So he's like, tell me what is good about a zucchini? That's right, absolutely nothing. And so he'd have that really dry kind of
zucchini,
delivery. I know, but there's
so
but then tie that into a song like singing war. What is it good for? But they zucchini. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Like that. So, but the guy that hosts the bit in Auntie Donna where it's like the game show host, it's a new car. So I don't know which one that is. But he just delivers everything so dryly. So
I kind of like, I'm like, is he joking or is he
know.
mad at me? It's like, I can't tell, but I think
he is like
Auntie
Donna in general. Yeah, it's like, is this funny or am I just laughing because everyone else is?
Am I laughing because this is awkward and I feel weird?
Yep. Yeah, so that was probably my favorite. Who was your?
If they came out with a season 2, I would watch it. So I feel like
you're invested now.
Yeah, I feel like whatever they make, I'm in for it because I just kind of want to see what they do next. It's kind of like a car crash. It's not bad. Like I don't want people to think that I don't like it or that I don't think they're good comedians. Like the fact that I have no fucking idea what I just watched and I'm definitely here to watch more, I think is maybe that's what they're going for. Like maybe that's their thing. Yeah. Like I just want to see what they do next because it's fucking insane and I have no idea what to expect. And I think that sense of like mystery is really intriguing.
Yeah, agreed. So that's a show to look out for there.
That's
guys.
my review of Auntie Donna.
That's the review.
Don't know what the fuck I watched, but I'm here for more.
Yep. Nice.
So that's your shows, yeah?
Yeah, that's the shows.
Cool.
There was a movie on the list as well.
We were going to talk about is called His House. I've got the IMDb open here just to give like a brief.
Yeah. Give us the readout.
Readout of it. It's very short. So it came out on the 30th of October on Netflix. It was a Netflix movie. I'm assuming worldwide. I'm not sure though. So a refugee couple makes a harrowing escape from war-torn South Sudan, but then they struggle to adjust to their new life in an English town that has an evil lurking beneath the surface. So it is I think it is classed as a horror film. It is a drama horror thriller. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know what to expect with this one. I was kind of just, obviously with 2020, like there wasn't a whole lot of, like I haven't been to the cinema in over a year, definitely. Like I don't even know the last time I went to the cinemas. So I was looking for some movies to watch, and obviously with the pandemic, there have been films that have been coming out strictly for specific platforms. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this was a Netflix specific one, and I really liked it. It was not like anything I've really watched. I'm trying to compare it to something, but I don't even.
I feel like it had a really, like, because it was made. It's a British film. It felt like it had a much higher budget than what the sticker price said on it. It was really, really well produced. I think I'll speak on your behalf in that you are not sensitive to horror content at all, given the things that you've played and you've seen.
The things that I've put myself through.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So you're not sensitive. Yeah, and so when a movie comes out as being labeled as horror, you're probably more like, oh yeah, we can sit through this and see what it's like, kind of thing. And I myself, I wasn't really scared by it. I would definitely put it under the thriller category. Mm-hmm. In terms of originality of storyline, though, I've not come across, because sometimes when you're watching a movie, you'd be like, yeah, I've picked the ending based on these things that I've seen, and it feels like it's going in this direction and whatnot.
Yeah.
I
did not know what was going to go in that one.
It's not that it had crazy twists, but it told a really, really good narrative based on a type of lifestyle that I'd not really been exposed to. So like you said, there were refugees from war-torn Sudan,
And it was kind of like they won like a lottery, right? So they were given, like they were taken out of the refugee camp and they were given like a home, right?
So it's not really a lottery. It's again, it is a bit of a narrative or a commentary on how the refugee system works in different countries, and this one's based in Britain, where what happens is that if they did make it into the country, they were obviously asylum seekers. They didn't go through official means, but as asylum seekers, because the government at the time had said, okay, we're going to help people out in a certain way, they were put up in and again, not to give away too much of the film, they were put up in housing, and they were given a set of circumstances as deemed the government deemed for asylum seekers.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a portrayal of how they were treated by the British public, and then how they were feeling about how they were treated and what they were given, and just how they lived life as an asylum seeker.
Mm-hmm.
But then also it told the story of how they came to be asylum seekers, which again I think that sort of story needs to be told to a lot more people.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, obviously, but it was pretty heart-wrenching, I would say.
I think people because I've always been really I have strong feelings about people that want to say things like stop the boats and you know there's a huge political all of that discussion where when really you don't know what people have been through. You don't know what actually asylum means when you are at the lowest depths that you've ever been at, that you need to seek asylum. It's not like, oh look, I'm feeling bad about something and I don't feel good about it. It's like you need asylum.
Your country is not safe for you to survive.
Like your house, your home, the street that you live on is not safe for you to actually physically be on. It's really, really quite heart-wrenching. So there's that part of the story which I think a lot of people need to see. And the fact that they've tied that so sort of like a socio-political expose tied into a horror thriller type film. It was very, very original in my opinion, and I
think that's
really,
why it stuck
really
out to
enjoyed
me
it
so much, is because it just didn't it wasn't like anything I've seen, and like I said, trying to compare it to anything, it seems blasphemous because it's so unique in its own way, and it tells a story that I've not seen before. So definitely recommend it. It's not a light watch, but
no
I would really recommend watching it. Maybe just have some backup like pictures of cute cats and stuff to look at afterwards.
Just to switch over to Auntie Donna after that.
Just like, what? Yeah, definitely liked it. And the first thing I noticed was the main like female lead was from the Black Mirror episode Playtest. She played Katie in that one. And I was like, oh my God, it's her. So that was cool.
Playtest, is that the VR one?
Yeah. So
that's
she's
a good
like
one.
the main female lead.
Yep.
So,
like it. I like it.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Definitely worth a watch.
Perfect. Cool. So the picks, I think that covers most. Did you have another pick on the list?
I was in top of games.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
So only yesterday I picked this little gem up, but I've been looking at getting into a new roguelite as a big Isaac fan, and I played a bunch of Spelunky 2, which is so hard. A little bit of Dead Cells as well. I was looking for a new one to get into on stream. I wanted like a first tryout on stream. And Skull with one L, the Hero Slayer, came out on the 21st, I think, of Jan. So it came out recently. It's still on sale until the 4th of Feb. It's like 20% off for the first couple weeks of launch. It's really cute. So it's a roguelite, not a roguelike. So a roguelike.
Would you like, what's the difference there?
Yeah, a roguelike is something that is like permadeath and has no progression through your failures. So basically one run is one run and it's its own thing.
And every time you press start, you start at the same level. You don't have any extra advantage from having played it for 6 months. It's just the same every time you start.
Yeah. So Spelunky is a roguelike. Isaac is a roguelike. Dead Cells, Skull, I'm not sure that others that are currently relevant, but they are roguelites. So a roguelite is something that you build progression up over time and you take through all of your runs. So in Skull, for example, you're going through the levels and you unlock dark crystals or dark quartz, I think it's called. And you then use that to, make your base HP bigger or your physical attack higher or your magic power more. So you upgrade those things over time, obviously building yourself a stronger base. So they do play a little bit differently because, you know, the first time you jump into Skull, you get wrecked because you're base. But then you start building stuff up, and over time it gets a little bit easier because you've got more HP and more magic power and more lower cooldowns on things.
Yeah. So the way that I read the description difference between a roguelite and a roguelike is that with the roguelike, the emphasis is on the run itself. It's basically how well you do in this one run. Whereas the roguelites, you're actually working your way up to the end game.
Yeah,
so
it's like overall progress.
Yeah, because the first time you play the game, no one, not even the developers, are expecting you to get to end game because your character is weak and squishy. Whereas over time, because you've built up the extra stats over your runs, there'll be a time where you get to the end game, and like that's what you're working towards there.
Yeah.
So that one rang true to me. What do you prefer out of a roguelike or a roguelite?
I feel like a roguelite is probably more like user friendly in a way, because you do feel like you know, with game you always kind of want to feel like you're working towards something and you're getting those little rewards. So with a roguelite, you're kind of always like, cool, I'm working towards a goal of, you know, building up my base stats so that I'm not totally squishy. Whereas with a roguelike, I feel like they're a bit more punishing because it's like, you died and you didn't get anything for it, and now you got to start from the bottom. It's like, at least with a roguelite, you're like, oh, well, I died. At least I got 10,000 things that now I can spend and upgrade some stuff. So I feel like, roguelikes are probably a little more hardcore, I suppose. So that's probably why it's called roguelite.
And they're a little bit more like an RPG than the likes, which is just, okay, pick this up at the dentist waiting room and I'll have a run and see how I go.
Yeah.
Whereas the roguelite is I'm working towards finishing this off and look how strong I am now.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. I agree. I'm a roguelite person. I've decided. I like them a lot. I've decided. Yes.
Makes me feel nice.
Yes. I like the progressions.
Yeah, it's a really fun game, and it's still relatively new, so I'm sure there's going to be more coming to it. But it has a really unique element with the skulls. So you can hold 2 skulls at a time, which are basically like your overarching items, I guess. You have one that's like, this is a guy with a spear, and when you change to it, it does like a flurry attack. And then if you have another one that I had yesterday that was like I can't remember what it's called. It was like the fucking Empire Demon or something like that. It was like this big and like legendary. There's different rankings. There's like rare, common, you know, epic, that kind of thing. This was a legendary item, which you basically just shit on everything. So you just like get a super overpowered item. You're just like, I am a god. Let's go. And just like destroying everyone. I think that's a really unique. What's that?
I accidentally swapped that one out.
No, the guy in the store.
Yeah.
No!
I accidentally, I'm like, oh my, what have I done?
You got there's no takesies backsies.
No, I couldn't swap her back, and I felt bad.
Oh, rip.
Yep.
It's
Neon Abyss was the other one that I was trying to think of. That's what
yeah.
I've been playing a lot of. Yeah, which
I
is
really
a
liked
roguelite.
the theme of that. I felt like I think it probably needs a bit of an update to bring in maybe some new items and some new enemies. It gets a little bit repetitive for me personally.
So there was
the
one,
feel
coincidentally.
Similar. Okay.
Yeah. So since you played it on stream, there has been an update which has introduced a new tech tree system.
Okay.
And then also introduced some new enemies and some new mechanics in rooms and stuff. But even with that added, I 100% agree. When you're playing something like Isaac, which has thousands of items and thousands of combinations, I will still play. If I were to sit down and play maybe 3 runs of Neon Abyss, I'd get the same items in a few of those. There's always some overlap. So it needs a lot more. But yeah, it's
that's a roguelike, isn't it?
It's a light because you do build up the tech tree over time.
Do they actually make you stronger though? They just unlock items, right?
No, I think they just unlock items and so I think
it's
you'd possibly yeah.
It also does have the difficulty settings, which I don't think I've ever seen in other. Oh no, sorry, Isaac has difficulty.
Isaac has them.
Yeah.
It's just items. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So I think you'd probably call it like
have difficulty. It's just hard.
So I've moved from Neon Abyss to Dead Cells. I'm really enjoying Dead Cells, and that's definitely a light because as time goes on, you unlock more stuff in your guy. And I'm pretty sure it's a light.
It is.
Let me think. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, it's fun time. They're good ones.
They're a fun genre as well. I think it's probably something that's overlooked a lot because people hear like permadeath and they're like, oh, that'd get so annoying. But it's kind of like what we were talking about. Like you suffer for a little bit and then you have that win and then, you know, you have to go back to the start. But then you kind of appreciate when you do get an overpowered run and you're like, this is sick. Like, I feel like a god.
I appreciate a lot. Again, living the time poor life that I have. I do appreciate the types of games like these where I can, you know, maybe 40 minutes max for a run. I can play that, sit down and do a thing, and that's cool. I
don't quite hate myself as much as Barjo, who just popped into my chat, who does permadeath in Dark Souls.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I'm already up to like 20 deaths in Dark Souls 3, having only played for a couple of hours. But I did beat the tutorial boss first try, so I'm taking that, and I beat Fort of the Boreal Valley like my 4th try, so
amazing.
Taking it.
Yeah.
So that's our picks.
Oh, I did have on my list was The Outer Worlds.
Oh my god.
Are you enjoying it, Grace?
So beautiful. I love it.
Speaking of games that are older that we're getting into now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, I think that's a good way to experience games sometimes. Like not to bring it up because everyone's probably sick about hearing about it, but playing games on launch, like, I don't know, Cyberpunk's probably not the best thing to do because sometimes games get rushed out because people can't relax.
Relax, mate. Relax.
Or developers set unrealistic expectations and timelines.
Well, I don't think it's the devs, to be honest. Just in my dealings in the past week, the marketing department, oh my goodness, marketing departments. Ugh.
Yeah.
But
like games, maybe like in my experience, when I've, you know, not played a game at launch and played it, you know, 18 months later, they're really polished and they've had some patches. They may have some DLCs to add to the story that you can play as well, like playing Dark Souls Remaster. I got to play all the way up until the final boss, went back, did all the DLC bosses, and then came back and finished the game. And that added like a really fun little extra part to the game that otherwise I wouldn't have experienced if I just played the game when it first came out. So yeah, I think similarly with Outer Worlds, like I don't know how it was on launch, but it's butter. It's smooth.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And there's DLC.
And I really appreciate the writing and the humor. It came from the original Fallout 1 and 2 writers. So a lot of the same bunch from that. So it's got the same sort of humor, the same sort of.
It's a new studio. They're called Obsidian, but it's
Obsidian. Yep.
Team. They also worked on New Vegas, which was. Which we've seen a leak as well for New Vegas. Ooh, not to get too off topic, but not sure how accurate it is. But what was the leak about? The leak
was that New Vegas 2 is in the works. Yeah. So I don't know how 100% accurate that is. But
let's hope it is accurate.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I've been saying like either give us the New Vegas remaster, which I guess you could just play on PC with a bunch of mods, but I'd love to see either a New Vegas remaster to play or a second.
There was an amazing new mod just released for that as well.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's why this leak came out, because like a fan-made mod for New Vegas comes out with 30 hours of content and all these new weapons and all this new stuff. And I wonder if there's like, hey, we make games too. Like, New Vegas 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
It just seems like funny timing, how quick, how close together that was. But yeah, we don't know if the leak's accurate yet. So.
That's all right. Cool.
We can hope.
See, you can.
Still waiting on Bioshock.
Oh, I know. Easy.
There's apparently one in the works, but obviously COVID just changes everything.
Yep.
Did you want to talk anything about Outer Worlds? You just having a good time with it?
I'm having a great time with it. Again, the single player aspect, just syncing. Again, I'm very time poor, so it is hard to I've done 2 major sessions of it which I have streamed.
Yep.
And I found the first one was great because it was about 7-8 hours long. Nice. The second session, which was about 4 hours, I feel like I didn't actually achieve anything in the game in 4 hours. I had a whole lot of conversations. I had one gun battle, but that was it. So it is something that I feel like
campaign's talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's really, it's a really good universe to lose yourself in. I feel a lot of I feel a lot of Fallout. I feel a lot of Red Dwarf. There's a throwback for anyone out there as well. So just a lot of that space cowboy kind of humor as well, which is, it's really cool. Really cool. Space colonists.
Yeah, I love it. It's really freaking fun. Like, I didn't play Fallout 1 and 2. I've watched bits and pieces, and I know the overarching story, but like, yeah, I love the humor in it. And so many times I'll be in the middle of a conversation and I'll say something out loud, and then that's one of the options of like the dialogue. I'm like, they know me so well. Oh my God.
It's just for you.
This is my story. So invested. I've got like, I think I've done like 4 or 5 streams. And I've got like one big quest that's kind of like the point of no return. So I haven't touched it yet. And I don't want it to be over yet. I'm going to go do all the side quests and do all the like allied quests and stuff first.
The other stuff.
I just don't want it to be over. It's so fun.
Yeah, agreed. So they're the picks. They're my gaming picks for people that don't have a lot of time but want to get deep into something. The Rogue Lights and Outer Worlds right now.
Yep. We've got actually the Medium, I think, came out either today or yesterday, which is a new horror one on Game Pass that I want to play. I have seen a couple of reviews come out, but I'm just not going to look at them because I know they're going to be negative, because all horror game reviews are always negative at the start. So I'm just going to ignore them and I'm just going to try it probably next week at some point. So.
I think I stopped reading reviews in 1997.
When they're in magazine form. Back in black and white. Funny because it's old chat. That's why it's funny.
It's because I'm so old.
Speaking of old, let's move on to fitness.
Yeah, I'm an old guy and I'm kind of fit. So
kind of.
Fitness things. Kind of.
We did touch on it. Like, fitness has played a major role in our 2020s and beyond. It was definitely, for me personally, like a good outlet to get some stress out and make myself feel big and strong, because it is a great outlet for all things like well-being. Obviously with a job where I'm stationary a lot of the time, I do the standing desk. For these, I normally sit down because I don't want to have to adjust up and down, because I can't stand for like 6 hours like you can. I need to work up to that. I usually stand for like an hour at a time and then mix and match. But yeah, seeing, like, for me, like, we started FitForPurpose together 3 years ago.
3.5 years ago, yeah.
And seeing it evolve and get to the stage where it's at now, like the space that you've created for FFP, and seeing you know, on Australian front page, like every morning, and, you know, seeing you with like 300, 400, 500 people watching every single morning is like, it's really fucking cool. And I think like with all of the darkness out of 2020, like that's been a really cool, positive thing to see. And, you know, you've changed so many people's lives through that. Like, there's been a lot of people that have made transformations, and they're the fittest that they've ever been in 2020, when most people are like,
COVID weight. COVID weight.
Like, yeah.
It's been a time. And I suppose one of the things that has helped people with that motivation, this is a segue into the 8-week challenge that we've got running. This is now week number 2. So out of the soft launch week, we had the week number 9, or week number 0. This is the first actual week of workouts that people are getting into, and I'm seeing people checking in. I'm seeing people actually get some really good movements and the really good questions out of it as well, because I know people are actually doing things when they're asking me questions about, hey, look, this hurts, or this movement felt weird. And the thing about this challenge is that it's you don't need equipment. You don't need crazy amounts of like barbells and dumbbells and things. It's mainly body weight. It's mainly just learning to move your body. And even people that, you know, when you mention things like, hey, go for a run. Oh, I hate running. There are people out there that are getting those little running workouts in, because when I say run, it doesn't mean 45 minutes of just running. We work up to that. You work up.
Totally.
And the endorphins that come from doing a workout are huge. The sense of accomplishment you get from having something on your list to do every day, and you tick the box and it's done, you're sorted. It's just, it's a really good way to motivate you through the rest of your day.
I think we've spoken about this a few times as well. It's like, it's crazy that fitness is seen as like this kind of elite club, when it's literally just human beings moving their bodies, and it's something that every person should be doing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not an elite club. We're not special. We're not crazy. Like, we are just people and we're just moving our bodies, which is what they're meant to do. Like, so don't feel there's no barrier to entry with fitness. There's literally nothing. You just need to get up off a chair and move.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Exactly. and that's the main thing. It's not a club. It's not an elite club. It shouldn't be an inconvenience is the other thing. I've put myself to the state now where if I don't do a workout in a day, I actually feel weird about it. I feel strange that
It's like something's missing.
Yeah, something's missing from the day. Whereas a lot of people have the attitude that, unfortunately, they have the attitude that this is an inconvenience to me. This is something that I shouldn't need to be doing this, yada, yada, yada. When as humans, we're given one body. We've got one body, and we should be moving. And that's not to say that I'm disregarding people that do have mobility issues, disabilities.
Obviously there
There's ways to work around those things.
People that have physical disabilities.
No. And realistically, if you do have something that you want to talk about, that's part of what I'm trained in. Is if you come across and you say we've got these things to work around, let's work around them. Then that's what I'm trained to be discussing and well open to that.
I mean, that's why it's fit for purpose. That's why it's not like weightlifters unite. It's like we're literally just trying to help people find their purpose and work within their means to improve their quality of life, basically. So, you know, if you do have limitations to certain things that you can and can't do, that's totally fine. Like, we all have different things that we are capable of and not capable of. And that's kind of the whole point of the channel. It's more than just physical fitness. It's wellness in general. It's mental health. Like, we're not mental health professionals, but in doing what we do with the fitness side of things and hopefully soon to come nutrition, that is going to definitely help with people's mental well-being and all around like quality of life. I think quality of life is really a good way to put it, because it's something that everyone should strive to improve, is their quality of the life that we have on this planet.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's done a workout that they've regretted. Every workout, people will say things like, "Oh, I'm glad I did that," or "I feel really good after doing that."
I think it's always like, I didn't want to, like, it was really hard getting started, but I feel really good now. It's not like, that was shit, I wish I just sat on the couch. It's like, I've never thought that, ever. Like, even if I've struggled and complained and, like, just been pissed off the whole time, I'm always like, I'm glad I, like, tried.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
and that happens to me a lot. Like, I'm not perfect.
I know.
I fucking have shit days where chat has pissed me off or the game has made me mad, and I get to the gym and I'm like, I am in like so much adrenal stress right now. I can't do anything. And then we work around that. We do something that's gonna help me unwind, and that means deadlifting 110 kilos. Yeah. I think I did 110. I think I did 105.
You did 105. The 105. That's good.
But yeah, it's like, and don't, like, I feel like a lot of people get really hard on themselves. I think Snippety is definitely one that is super hard on herself, like, and kind of like, you know, not punishes herself, but like gets really hard on herself and gets frustrated because of X, Y, Z. And it's like, you're there doing it. That's so much more than so many people. Like,
yeah. Just the fact that you've got there and you're doing it is huge, number one.
And if there is shit going on behind the scenes, if you do have like stressful shit happening at work, or, you know, you have a conflict with your family or your partner or whatever, that is going to come into play. Like, your performance may not always be, you're not always going to be in an upward trend. You're not always going to be progressing and getting better every single time you train. Like, life happens in between. As long as it's like a gradual trend going up. Like, it's not just going to be a straight curve.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like, it is a bit of a fine balance sometimes, where I know that when people come into the gym like that, they often just need a bit of time to chat as well as lift.
Totally.
The other side is, though, that we're there to do a job. We're there to get something done. So, it is also good practice to learn how to put things aside and actually, just get the work done.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that people have struggled with, is having that disconnect, like through COVID. You know, like, it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're studying. If you go to school to do your study, you'll probably do it. But if you're at home, you'll be like, oh, let's play some games or get some food, or, you know, get distracted. When you go to a gym, you're there to, like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and not work out? You're going to do it. You've already got your clothes on. You've already made the effort to go there. You're going to do it. But I think with home workouts, there's so many distractions. And if people have kids, they've got the kids in the way and then the pets and like there's just all these distractions. So I think for people that may not already have like built a good base of discipline and actually, making a routine of working out, they probably suffered a lot during COVID because there were so many other things they could be doing. And like fitness obviously wasn't their number one priority, which is fine. But
that's a good point.
It's not because of COVID. It's because it wasn't your priority.
Yeah, well, COVID actually, it was a massive hit to people's routines.
Yeah.
And humans are animals of routine, animals of habit. So when you've got something as stressful, and this is the whole decision stress, when that's added into the mix. Look, I'm at home now. I don't know what I'm doing with myself. Normally I'd be away from these distractions at home, or normally I'd be in a different environment. And now I don't know what to do. And so trying to build a habit into that as well can be a bit much for some people's psyches.
And also just the overarching stress of like, there's a global pandemic and thousands of millions of people are like getting sick and dying.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
lot for people to process. It's not something that a lot of us have ever had to deal with in our lifetime. So like if you're feeling a little unmotivated, you don't have to beat yourself up too much because this is pretty like, it's been a pretty fucked 18
I was going to
months.
say, if you're feeling down, there's no point in making yourself feel more down about feeling down. That's the textbook definition of that downward spiral.
Pick yourself up, pick up some weights,
Pick yourself
and you
up.
feel better.
Yeah. And you mentioned there before as well. It is handy when you do have a space that you can do something in.
Yeah.
So whether or not that's clearing an area in your living room. I think on top of that, it just occurred to me as well is that because people were at home and there was a lot of stuff going on at home, I think just cleaning the house up also helps a lot with fitness, because then you've got actually a space where you can do your training and do your fitness stuff in. And then mentally you've uncluttered your mind because you've uncluttered the house as well.
A clean space does so much for your mental health. Like,
yeah.
I feel like shit if my room's like untidy, especially the space like where I work. Like if my office is untidy, it's like a weight on my shoulders. I'm like, fuck, I gotta do that, but I don't have any time. And then it's like a spiral. It's like, it's stressing me out. And then because I'm stressed out, I feel like I have no time. And then I get stressed, and then like the streams that suffer, and I'm like, got a short fuse, and I go off with someone in chat that doesn't really didn't really require me to be so emotional about or whatever. Like, it's a spiral. So if you can, it's kind of like that thing I think you've said a few times. Like when you get up in the morning, make your bed, because it's like one thing to tick off and it starts your day off with a win. Yeah. And it also just makes your room look tidier. So
yeah. It's the clutter-free thing. Having like over my shoulder, the gym is in a nice state. I feel like working out. Whereas when I come out here and I've left weights on the floor, I've left crap everywhere, I just don't feel like working out.
Because it's like, now I have to tidy this up and then get started.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you eliminate all of those little reasons why not to do something, like if you have to do a workout at 6 a.m, get all your clothes out together and like prepare it the night before, so that when you wake up, you don't have an excuse of like, I don't have anything to wear. You're like, nope, there's my thing. Get it on, done. All right, I'm ready. Like eliminating distractions and excuses is kind of the key to like discipline, I suppose.
Yeah. And discipline is the key to fitness. Yeah.
Yeah. Not motivation, because motivation is fleeting and you can't, especially external motivation. You can't rely on other people to be your motivation. Like a lot of people have gym buddies and stuff, and I feel like that's a good way, because you do have someone else, holding you accountable to be like, hey, are we going to go? Like, we're going now. Like, are you coming or not? And you don't want to disappoint that person, hopefully.
Yeah.
So you're probably more likely to like go, but you kind of do need to have that internal and motivation.
Decision fatigue, decision stress, it's some people call it. It's huge. Lolita Rose just mentioned that, and Gary as well, a form of that where meal prepping. That's why a lot of people that are successful in fitness have meal prepped, because they're removing that decision fatigue from every day.
Yeah.
So if I paint the picture of you waking up in the morning, okay, I know I need to do a workout, but I don't know. I know I need to eat healthy, but I don't know. I know I need to wear clothes. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes figuring all that out.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted after that. And if you have all of that prepared the night before, if you have the whole week's worth of meals ready to go in the form of frozen dinners, or stuff that you've prepped, if you know what gym clothes you're going to wear, if you've got the workouts already for you in the handy FFP app, then you're removing that decision fatigue, and you can actually just go about your day and put the effort into actually enjoying what you're doing, as opposed to worrying about what you haven't decided upon yet.
Yeah, it helps so much, and I'm always gonna like sing your praises with the programs and stuff. Like taking that away as someone, when I first started training, I had no freaking idea what I was doing, and I was, not really making progress because I had no specific things that I was working towards. I'd just go and do whatever looked like the right thing to do, but eliminating that and actually having something to follow and knowing that what I'm doing, if I follow it, I am going to see progress, because, this is going to target shoulders, this is going to target back, this is going to target legs. I'm going to be a balanced human being if I stick to this. And yet it eliminates all of that like unknown that I think does give people like a sense of the barrier to entry with fitness, because there is, in a way, if you don't know what you're doing, but there are tons of resources like FitForPurpose that have 3 workouts every weekday that you can follow along with in real time, or go back to the VODs when it suits. Like it's literally free. You don't have to do anything. They're not locked to subscribers. The VODs, they're open to everyone, and you've done every morning since March last year.
Yeah,
June last year. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's nearly 12 months that I've been every single weekday doing a workout, or I've been showing up and on time, waking up, pressing go, streaming. It's crazy. It's like, I see, even with a full-time job, people have 4 weeks worth of holidays. So there's I've had less holidays from FFP than I have for my full-time job.
It's because you like
Discipline.
FFP. Shit. Sorry, Matt. Hope you're not listening.
Well, that's it. Passion. It's a passion project. Yeah. So that's I think that's all I wanted to touch on, is that we've had a huge, great start to the FFP season 6, I believe. It's one of the 5 or 6. I never thought it'd get to that stage where we're doing these, and part of my goal setting for 2021 was to do 4 challenges this year. So this is the first of the 4 challenges we're going to have going. This one's based on OCR. We're going to get back into racing. Personally, I'm looking forward. I've actually dropped 3 kilos.
Nice.
And I've added strength, so I'm lifting more, but I'm weighing less.
Yeah. I haven't checked my weight actually. I should have a look. I've been like counting calories a bit more, being a bit more mindful.
Yeah. Nah, we got this. We're back into racing form, Grace. We're gonna go hard. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
How are you feeling fitness wise?
Pretty good. Like, obviously, I didn't really like point it out on the stream, but I got tattooed on Tuesday, so the last couple of days have been a little bit hard. We went for a run around the city last night, and as my heart rate got higher and like my skin got a bit warmer, it started really throbbing. So I had to take it a little bit easy. It's still, kind of an open wound, I suppose. So it's a little bit of trauma going on there. So my body's just doing its thing. So try not to push it too much, but still did some pull-ups and stuff. So feeling good. Like we've been doing the snake pit sessions on the weekends, which has been really good getting back into that, because that just slams you. But like my Sundays have literally been like, wake up at 6, do snake pit, nap, eat, and then just relax all day because I'm wrecked. Like I kind of love the feeling of just being like destroyed from a workout. And I think like having the workouts being really ramped up and, doing different stuff like learning the overhead squats and things like that. Just learning new techniques is always really fun with fitness. Yeah. And I think that's something that Jeff does really well as a trainer is, keeping the workouts really varied so that they're fun and enjoyable and you feel like you're always making progress in one way or another. It's not just, the same 4 workouts every week, like repeating. It's always different shit, and it's dialed in to strengthen things that I need, because I have very specific needs as a full-time gamer and someone who wants to do well in OCR. Like I have to do lots of warm-ups for my hips and my back and my wrists and things like that because of the daily grind of gaming and editing videos and things. And that's just a testament to like Jeff as a trainer and his expertise, I suppose, that you may not get from a normal type of trainer, I think.
He is.
And just seeing G's progress and Kayla's progress and stuff, and Dion as well. Like your clients are such a fun group of people, and they're just, they're just there to fucking get after and become better people. And it's really motivating. And everyone in Discord as well, like seeing people's check-ins and like Hailstar and Liam and, Will doing his pull-ups, and just everyone in the community that is just really supportive and shares their progress that's all external motivation, and it really helps us as well as the creators of the platform for you all to be like, people give a shit, which is nice.
It's nice. It's nice.
Nice to know that, you know, you especially, Jeff, have changed a lot of people's lives with their health, which is pretty incredible when you think about it.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing.
It's cool.
Yeah,
like
it's been
really
great.
happy.
It's been great. And that goes hand in hand with what you said there. It's like, because I enjoy doing this. You feel like there's a purpose, and then you enjoy the things you do when you feel like there's a bigger purpose, and you're helping more people than just you with that one. So yeah, really enjoy it. Very good.
I think it's been the same for me with my content as well. Like, I know I'm just like a gaming stream, but I feel like if I was to look at my channel overall, my goal isn't to just like continuously grow my channel. It's to like build the community and create like a space where people do feel safe and like to hang out and can share common interests and can find connections. And I think through COVID as well, this is kind of not really fitness. I might just go to like wrap up.
Yep.
I think people have made connections, like lifelong friends throughout my community, and from hanging out, you know, either playing DnD or just hanging out over Discord calls and sitting in there. Like, I love waking up and seeing, or like going to bed at 2 a.m. and seeing, you know, 12 people all sitting there with their webcams on, just hanging out and chatting. I'm just like, this is what I always dreamed of when I first started my channel. It was like, this is what I wanted. I didn't want to just be like not faceless, but just like a creator putting content out there for people to watch, and that was it. Like, I love being a part of it, and also not having to lead that type of stuff. Like, just seeing people doing that on their own volition, which is like, I just really like it. You guys are awesome.
Autonomous community.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
It's like a little steam train just going on its own.
Chug it. That's right. Nice.
It's pretty cool though. Like, when you think, like, when taking everything else aside, like all of the shit where I'm like, damn it, chat, so annoying, get off my dick, like all that shit. Like, having a space where pretty much at any point in time I can be like, hey, anyone want to play a game? There'd be someone that's like, yeah, let's do it.
Play a game.
Hang
Let's
out,
play a game.
Play games and have fun and connect, and that's just nice, because we all need that lately, because 2020 has been, you know, it was a heck of a year, and I think it highlighted more than ever how much we need human connections.
Yeah, you end up in a pretty dark place when you don't have those positive connections around you. You just end up sounding like a complaining, whining, wallowing, just a really sad soul, unfortunately. So sometimes it does take having a good community around you to not let you fall into that trap. And yeah, see the brighter side of life. And even if you are dealing with stuff, having that support system around you is really quite important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys go all right. You guys go all right.
You guys.
Can you believe it's been 2 hours?
Wow.
2 hours.
Wow. 2 hours.
Insane.
2 hours. That being said, I was going to say, yeah, because we've got a game on the list there. We could play a few games of the game.
Yeah. So I think that's a good point to wrap up. Pipe up for the first episode of 2021. Is there anything you'd like
episode
to add
5
before we
No,
move
I
on?
think the point that I've been making is that people made a huge deal about that calendar clicking over from 2020 to 2021. My
it's
point
going to
to
change anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like 2021 is going to be what you make it. If you want to continue wallowing in whatever 2020 dealt you, that's completely up to you. But the flip side of the coin is that, you know what, the flicking of the calendar can be symbolic of people making a change. So if you are going to make a change, make that change. Just make it happen. Don't wait for someone else to do it for you. A lot of what's going on in your head is up to you. And look, everyone's here to support you if you want to do that.
Yeah. Well said.
Thanks.
Good stuff. So hopefully there will be a shorter gap between the next pipe up. Obviously, this is kind of a thing where we just do it when we have time. And as two people that are incredibly time poor, we don't want to come into this completely unequipped and unorganized. So we'll bring you guys another episode of Pipe Up as soon as we can.
As we can.
This will go up onto all of the audio platforms. So if you are watching here live on Twitch, stick around. We're going to switch over to a game. If you are watching or listening on the audio things, we hope you enjoyed it. And,
thanks for your support.
Yeah, thank you so much for supporting us, even though there was a big gap. we really love, like, it's always a lot to do, but I always love these. Like, I always feel good when we're doing them. So
yeah, it is work, a lot of work
Yeah.
for Grace especially. But yeah, it is one of those things where I get people on, like, people don't talk to me on Twitter, but when they do, they're like, hey Jeff, we really enjoyed Pipe Up, when's the next one? Like, cool, all right. Yeah.
Nice. So on that note, thank you everyone so much for watching or listening, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.
Bye.